Avec son architecture chaotique, qui mêle bâtiments victoriens et immeubles modernes, le cœur de Belfast, autour de Bedford Street, attire aujourd'hui la jeunesse irlandaise et les curieux venus d'ailleurs. On oublierait presque que la capitale d'Irlande du Nord fut le théâtre de violences incessantes au milieu du XXe siècle. Les souvenirs de ces jours où factions religieuses et nationalistes divisaient le destin de la ville. Aujourd'hui, les passants peuvent venir admirer l'iconique Ulster Hall, surnommée affectueusement la Grande Dame de Bedford Street. C'est la salle de concert iconique de la ville, où les foules accourent depuis plus de 150 ans. Incontournable Bedford Street qui cache une toute autre histoire. Celle d'un baptême punk. Le professeur de sociologie Colin Coulter nous raconte cette journée qui a marqué tous les habitants de Belfast. Longtemps, cette salle accueillait des concerts classiques, mais aussi des groupes renommés comme Led Zeppelin, les Rolling Stones ou les Pink Floyd. Mais après l'assassinat des membres d'un groupe irlandais en 1975, les stars internationales ne se pressent plus pour y jouer.
At the beginning of the 1970s, people stopped coming. The city centre was dead. The pubs and restaurants, what few restaurants there were at the time, closed. The hotel that's immediately behind yourselves was, the Europa was for a long time the most bombed hotel in the world. The city centre was very deliberately closed down by a Republican bombing campaign.
En 1977, l'annonce d'un concert d'un tout nouveau groupe qui affole les foules en Angleterre excite toute la jeunesse. Les Clash sont les icônes d'un mouvement musical né quelques années plus tôt, le punk. Leur venue marque alors le renouveau de la vie culturelle à Belfast.
One of the origin stories of the Belfast punk scene is what happens just up the road here on the 20th of October 1977, which was for the time something unusual, which was a major international band, the Clash from London, were starting a tour in Belfast of all places. They're a band who are one of the most exciting young bands in the world. They are commercially successful, critically hugely acclaimed at the time, and it seemed for many people like the breaking of a cultural embargo. It was the thing that everybody's parents were worried about. It was the thing that kids were really excited about, and suddenly this was the world coming to us. When effectively the world had kind of lost interest in Northern Ireland because the Troubles were going on and on and on. Things like no future would have been, that nihilism would have been deeply felt by some people and deeply felt through. For other people, it was a slogan.
Mais en arrivant devant la salle, les fans des Clash apprennent que le concert est annulé.
During the day, as often happens, people gather outside the gig, hoping to see the band. A crowd had gathered outside, were very disappointed, people were looking forward to the Clash playing, and there was a bit of a skirmish, there was a bit of pushing and shoving. Some people say that the riot police were here, tried to move them on, and there was some pushing and shoving.
C'est l'incompréhension. Et le groupe est pourtant bien à Belfast, à quelques rues de là, accompagné d'un photographe, Adrian Booth.
Adrian Booth accompanies them in a minibus tour around the kind of war zones of Belfast, and lots of photographs are taken. The most important of those is right over my shoulder here.
Mais certains ne voient pas cela d'un bon œil.
The Clash had used this kind of war zone backdrop to burnish their own reputation as kind of outlaws and rebels and guerrilla fighters.
Et personne à l'époque ne comprend les raisons de l'annulation du concert.
This was a politically motivated cancellation, that the authorities feared the ability of punk to bring kids of nationalist and unionist Catholic and Protestant backgrounds together, and that somehow somebody had some political agenda in ensuring that didn't happen.
Mais la raison s'avère en fait bien plus triviale.
The official version was that the insurance cover for the gig was pulled. A lot of punk gigs had resulted in damage to venues, particularly when The Clash played in London in May of 1977 at the Rainbow Theatre. There had been a huge amount, £20,000 worth of damage to the venue.
Une série de photos controversées, de simples bousculades devant l'Ulster Hall. Reste à savoir pourquoi cette histoire a eu un tel écho dans toute l'Irlande.
Why do people remember that as a riot? And I think partly it's again part of the myth making around Belfast punk. Punk created a space where people could transcend those kind of cultural, those sectarian divides. I think for a lot of people, it was the new fad. It was the new energy. It was the new thing. I think at a time in the 1970s, for a lot of people, it was something that gave people a sense of hope. There's not many feel-good stories. There's not many progressive or positive stories, and it's one of the few.